A hostage and prisoner swap between Israel and Hamas will take place today at the commencement of a 4-day ceasefire. Joining me now live is Sky News US contributor Michael Ware. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Logistically, how will the hostage swap happen in your view? Take us through the stages.
Well, this is going to be a very, very complicated process where we understand that they intend to use 3 exits out of Gaza. How they're going to carve up which hostages come out of which exits is something that we don't know. We do know that the 50 hostages are all women and children. Now, the unaccompanied children are apparently being taken to a border exit where they will actually meet their parents. The rest are being taken out, and almost all of them will be immediately taken to Israeli or Egyptian hospitals, where they'll be assessed by medical professionals for physical wounds and obviously for the trauma that they're all going to have for the rest of their lives, especially these kids. So there will also be, in the midst of this process of assessing and attempting to heal and tend to, an intensive process of debriefing. Look, when we would get hostages back in Iraq, that's one of the major things, that was one of the most important things to the hostage negotiators and rescuers, was debriefing the freed hostages on where were you held, what did it look like, who else did you see, how often did they feed you, how many guards, what were the conditions like, was there any medical treatment. So you can be absolutely sure that the Israelis will be pumping every one of these hostages for every tidbit of information they can get.
And based on your experience, I mean, these hostages have now been underground since October 7. What sort of a condition do you think that they might be in?
Oh, look, I already feel for their trauma because it's going to be lifelong. And this is the first batch to get out. Most likely, almost certainly, every one of these hostages has been underground for what will be, at dawn, 48 days, surrounded by armed men in constant terror, not knowing if it's night or day, not knowing if their mum or their dad or their brothers or their kids are alive or not. You never, ever come back from that. I distinctly remember when it comes to underground in Iraq, there was an American elderly contractor kidnapped, Roy Helms. He was held for 11 months in a hole buried under a farmhouse that was only 4 foot tall and was cemented over every 3 days. And he spent 11 months in that hole. I suspect Roy Helms is still living in that hole under the ground. And sadly, I think many of these released hostages will be too.
Yeah, look, that's far out. That's really extraordinary. And I guess, yeah, you're right. We'll find out more over the coming days. It's certainly a precarious situation regardless. Michael Ware, thank you very much for your insight as always.